Hi everybody, I am Alex Stoicescu. I work for Request Network as a communications and community manager. And in case you're not familiar with Request Network, you should know that we are an OG protocol from the 2017 ICO craziness, and that we are the number one invoicing and payment infrastructure provider in the blockchain space. Am I right, Toph? Is that correct?
I think so, yes. You
Since
are.
um, since you've been here from the beginning, right? I know Christophe here is working for Request Finance, but he has also been working for Request Network, right? Can you tell us when you started for Request Network or Request Finance? What
Yeah,
was the dawn of your career here?
yes. So I joined Request Network as the very first employee and core contributor of the foundation back in early 2018, the first weeks of 2018. And um, and then I did work together for the foundation until we uh, co-founded like Request Finance on top of Request Network, and then I switched all my responsibilities to the operational company Request Finance, which is built on top of Request Network.
So you said you were the first hire for the foundation.
Oh yeah, very first employee of the after the launch of the foundation.
Okay,
Yes.
then something must be right since you're still here with us after so many years.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'll tell you later about like the resilience.
I'm curious. We should have that chat and perhaps in real life. But you mentioned Request Finance, right? So you started working for
Yep.
Request Network for the foundation, and then a
Hmm.
spin-off shows up, Request Finance. What is Request
Exactly.
Finance? I'm pretty sure most people know about it, but in case somebody is unaware of it, could you explain like I'm five, what is Request Finance?
Exactly. So Request Finance is you could consider it the front end of Request Network. Request Network being like this network of invoices and requests for payment in the
Right.
backend. Request Finance is the front app that CFOs, head of finance, head of operations of the industry use every day for their daily spend management. For any account receivable or payable, I mean, issuing invoice, sending invoice to their customers, for example, or to receive invoices, pay vendors, pay contractors, pay employees, pay grants, pay bounties, any type of disbursement. As long as you get paid or pay in crypto, you use Request.
So you could say that Request Finance is quite possibly the best showcase of what Request Network can do, can provide, and can offer, right?
Yeah,
Both to
exactly.
both to freelancers, like regular customers, retail, and companies as well.
Exact.
Cool. Um, since you've been here from the beginning of both companies, can you tell us some of the challenges that you faced with Request Finance in the beginning, since you were here from day one, and since this is mostly an invoicing focus space, I would like to know, and maybe others who are building invoicing solutions would also want to know what were some of the original challenges with Request Finance and how did you overcome them? Toph, are you still there? I think our guest has some internet issues. Connection lost. I just got a message. I'll give it a few minutes. Meanwhile, we can browse the Twitter timeline, see what else is happening in the world. ETH Denver everywhere. Everybody is posting about ETH Denver. Honestly excited to take part in that conference in a couple of weeks. just weeks now, actually. Bit bummed that I don't have enough time to go snowboarding as well. Okay, I see Toph is still here. Okay. No worries. No worries. There's something happening each time we host a space. It's either the app crashing or a guest has microphone issues. But with a little bit of audio editing magic, everything is fixable.
Okay, perfect.
So back to the question. I'm not sure when you lost the connection. I was asking you, since you were a founding member of Request Finance and you've been there from the start. I'm
Yes.
sure there will be people who will want to know, people who are perhaps thinking or even building their own invoicing or payroll solutions. They will want to know what kind of challenges you encountered during the beginning. What did you go through? What issues did you have, and how did you overcome those issues?
Interesting topic. We have to rewind a bit and go back to 2019, 2018, 2019. At that time, we were thinking of building this app that we launched end of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And we launched this app because we found our very first customer, which was MakerDAO at that time. And I met the MakerDAO team in Denver actually. And Rich Brand, the head of community at that time, was like having like a discussion regarding like the grant and bounty payments, and arguing with like the CFO Torben about the fact that one was like spreading the money, giving Etherscan hash to the finance controller, which had no clue of what was the disbursement, what were the disbursement about. So it was like a strange discussion. And at that time, it was like a bit like OG time. People were paying each other from like a wallet to a wallet without. It was like really like degen punk era, where like people did not really care about accounting, compliance, whatever like sophisticated word.
Mm.
They were only caring of this new technology that enabled peer-to-peer payment under the radar that doesn't go to the banking system, and it was satisfying enough. So the biggest challenge I had to overcome at that time was make them figure out that there is the technology is good, but there is also a necessity for doing the things right. And when I say doing the things right, is documenting every single transaction is really important when we do business, because when you document a transaction with an invoice, it means that you can maintain an accounting, you can get audited, and if you get audited, you can even raise funds. And at the end of the day, if you think of this whole loop, Request is almost a solution that enable you to scale not only your operations, but your company as a whole, because it scales your daily financial operations, doing the things properly, yes. But if you can also raise funds at the end of the day because you have a good audit trail and a finance track record, you scale your whole organization as a whole. So, and this is really interesting concept. But back in 2018, people were not even thinking of raising funds, doing the things right, maintaining an accounting. Crypto was associated to a gray, shady area of finance, even associated to terrorism and all the bad things you can hear about crypto. And this was like really like the challenge at that time.
You mentioned that people were sending money to each other by just, by the wallet address. What's your address? Give me the address and I'll send you the funds, which people are still doing it today, right?
Yes, they do.
And this is quite easy. You go to your MetaMask, your wallet connector, whatever, you just punch in an address that you received via Telegram or whatever, and boom, the money is sent. However, you may get that address wrong. Maybe in your clipboard you paste another address. You know
And
what I mean?
it's too easy to impersonate a Telegram. So people are sharing like wallet address on Telegram most of the time. And you can share like a fake account or a scammy account can ask for like send you an address for you to
Right.
once. We've seen tons of those type of acts.
Yep, yep, yep. But in the same time, people are still doing this, sending money by like this, sending funds like this because it's easy.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very, very easy. And perhaps, do you think that is one of the still? Do you think this is still a challenge for request finance to overcome? That people are doing this sending of funds by just sending from wallet to wallet, and this is susceptible to mistakes. Do you think this is a challenge that you still have to overcome, or because of the UI or the entire user experience?
Not really. Individuals send like money to each others. Companies now they like rely on tools and like the first year we onboard in 2021 we onboarded like 1,500 businesses, both like large companies and individual contractors. And when people did figure out that uh, in one click you can pay people without asking them their wallet address, without making a manual mistake while inputting an amount into
Yeah,
your MetaMask, or by double clicking on pay on MetaMask, right? So we abstracted all this difficulty at request. And so this is why like we managed like to onboard like 3,500 like organizations like in 2-3 years, which is like a lot. Now, if we talk about the present challenges,
yeah, that's where I wanted to get at.
yeah, if we talk about the present challenges, we have to re-educate people. Let me explain. Like the request, like is working with all the OG companies and at least like the ones who understood like the necessity to do the things properly documented and maintain an accounting and stuff before the other ones. And with no surprise, those are like the company who did scale before the others. One example is like The Graph. Another example is Sandbox, like legit names of the industry. Now, regarding the present challenges, we converted most of the or OGs of the industry because they understand the value of request. Now, the new CFOs of the industry are not like original gangsters of Web3. The CFOs of new companies are like Web2 CFOs that are like diving into Web3. So they restart from the beginning. So they learn what is crypto. They are asked to process crypto payments. So basically, they have no clue of the risk. Okay. So it's re-educating a new generation of people, let's say like the second wave of people of adoption. And this wave of people doesn't know the risk. So some of them say, okay, I'm gonna just like copy the wallet address and send the funds. And they make mistakes, but the same mistakes that the first generation was making like 5 years ago. That's one. And the second challenge we see now is like, since people are now coming from traditional world and diving into Web3, you cannot really ask them to set up a wallet, uh, copy paste a wallet address, or send funds because they have not been educated to decentralization and to like the fact that you own your funds.
So onboarding, you've considered onboarding to be an issue, still an issue.
So now you have to provide them with solutions that look like Web2 solutions. So request, for example, the UI looks like super simple. It's not at all dark background, degen,
and I can log in with Google. So,
yeah, exactly. It's
yeah.
like it's for adoption purpose. We simplified the UI, and for example, request works beautifully with products like Ledger Enterprise, because Ledger Enterprise is a product for enterprise users, right? So like traditional finance users. Like, I give you an example. A traditional person that doesn't know crypto today, if you show them Safe as a multi-sig wallet for the first time, or Rabbi wallet, they might freak out, right?
Yeah,
Because
they'll
they
be
say,
overwhelmed.
exactly. But if you show them something that looks like a banking interface with Web2 design codes, and I had a demo yesterday of Ledger Enterprise, and I can tell you that it does the job for Web3. So people own their keys, okay, it's MPC. However, the feel and look is like really familiar for traditional people. So, and I think this is like the present challenge. If we want the mass economy to adopt Web3, we cannot design degen UIs anymore. We have to design UIs that the mass economy can understand, I would say.
So design something that is that people are accustomed to, that the people
Yeah.
that you target
And
are
look,
already accustomed to and familiar with.
now you go to every single conference, people are not,
Mhm.
of course, everyone is talking about scalability. Okay, that's a topic that have been here forever. But now the hot topic is account abstraction. So that means a lot. So we abstract the complexity for adoption purpose. So that, and I think it's the key challenge for everyone working in this industry. If your target audience is the global economy, you have to elify your product as much as you can.
That's so very true. And um, since we've talked about the present challenges, and we've also talked a little bit about the initial challenges, and you've been here for quite a while in this industry. How do you think the landscape of invoicing and payroll has changed in this couple of years since you've started working in this particular space? Because you also have a traditional finance background, right? You were working in Web2
Yeah,
companies, regular companies before.
exactly.
So how do you think the Web3 invoicing landscape evolved in this, what, 5 years, 6 years?
So the as I was saying, like the landscape evolved because like we went from a highly tech-oriented target audience to a more traditional target audience. So now, like even with Bitcoin ETF and stuff, like now you have like on the radio, on the TV, you have like shows every day, and people are talking about cryptos, but they have no clue. It's interesting. They have no clue what they're talking about, but it becomes like you have in the press, in the TV. Few years ago, it was like really underground
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
economy. Now it's like the new cool stuff that people don't know. They don't know what it is, but they talk about it without understanding it. It's super interesting. So the landscape has evolved because before we were in the shadow, and now we are in the spotlight. So now we work with like auditors, for example, like Request has a business relationship with like Big Four audit firms like PwC or Deloitte.
KPMG, Deloitte, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We work with companies like Grant Thornton or Andersen. And those are like the companies that normally do not look at startups, right? Well, Request is not really a startup anymore. But still, these people, they were in their like area of comfort, and they were not looking at side technologies that they don't understand. The thing is, this technology is so revolutionary that they have to adapt and they have to adopt. So, and the adoption comes from so I think the ETFs in the US is a really good thing for like ringing the bell for everyone, say it exists for real. And now the fact that we are on the spotlight, it's even better for Request because now the companies operating in crypto are in the spotlight. You cannot be really under the radar. Okay. So since you're in the spotlight, you have to do the things right. And I come back to my original pitch, which was if you want to do the things right, you have to document everything. You have to maintain an accounting. You have to get audited as any other legit business in the world. And finally, operating with crypto will be recognized as a legit business in the future.
Right. So basically, just run your company as a regular company that is entirely legit,
Exactly.
and make the crypto experience, make it something more familiar to the experience that you already can get in Web2.
Exactly.
So if anybody's starting to build something for invoicing or payroll, they should focus on making the experience as Web2 as possible so that they can cater to companies and individuals already used to the systems. That's my main takeaway, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what's also like, I'm going to talk about something that did not change. People whenever like you dive in this industry, you remain, and a lot of them remain forever. So I had a meeting today, just like this afternoon, with someone from the finance department of Ethereum Foundation. Our last meeting was December 4, 2020. So,
It's
okay,
3 years and a couple of months. Yeah.
exactly. So an eternity in the crypto world. We were so happy to catch up and to, because Request in the meantime has evolved, right? And at that time, it was not suitable for Ethereum Foundation because it was like too small as a tool for such foundation. But now the product is like really decent. It does the job. It's been adopted by hundreds of companies. So it's good to reopen such discussion. Really good.
No, the Ethereum Foundation bit was very interesting. So many years there.
Exact.
Moving on. Anybody who's building something that is related to invoicing, payroll, and any kind of financial product can obviously learn from Request Finance. But what are maybe they won't succeed in building a product with so many features, but what are some of the real life problems that Request Finance can solve for
Yeah.
people and for companies? Because like we talked, if people want to build something, they have to cater to the needs first and foremost, and then they have to build something that is the UI, for example, or the experience has to be more Web 2, more traditional. But first, they need to figure out, okay, what do we solve? So what
Yeah.
does Request Finance solve for people and for companies?
So the scope of Request Finance is the following. If you operate a crypto in the crypto industry, or if you are like a traditional business willing to operate in crypto, you have to have a custody. Okay. So people are choosing like MPC technologies, any type of regulated custody or not, whatever. So it could be Anchorage, Xtrust, Coinbase, Gnosis Safe, Ledger, Fireblocks, even a MetaMask, okay? So you choose the custody solution of your choice. Once you have chosen this, everything afterwards can be operated by request, because you need to interact with these funds. So you request logs to your safe, for example, and from there you can like receive or send any type of funds in a proper documented way. That's one scope. So billing, account receivable, account payable. Here, the main use case is cross-border payment. When you make business around the world, it goes, I'm not like redefining the blockchain, but it goes faster and cheaper than any banking transfer in the world.
I mean, that was one of the original purposes of the blockchain, to facilitate
exactly.
such payments, make it faster, make it cheaper, make it better for everybody, no matter if you're sending money from Sri Lanka to, the States or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one. The second thing we do is payroll. So we enable the disbursement of a salary both in fiat or crypto, based on crypto rails, in any location in the world. This is super interesting because the big revolution here is the following. A crypto company can use request without having a bank. So as soon as you use your wallet to make any type of disbursement using request, the recipient can choose to receive any type of tokens, or they can decide to receive a wire transfer in their bank account. What it means is like, if I send you your salary in, India, okay, where like crypto regulation is like not super fun. I pay you with my MetaMask from France or from US or from UK. The money crosses the world, and you will receive a wire transfer in your bank account in Indian rupee during the day. And this is one of the big revolutions. So this is the type of thing you can do with request for payroll or remittance especially. So payroll, remittance, B2B payments, what else? Expense management. A lot of people are traveling around the world. We have an app, which is like the Expensify for crypto, that enable every single person or employee to be reimbursed either in fiat, either in crypto. So that's really important. And this is really important for people, for example, living in Latin America. If you live in Latin America, you don't want to receive dollars in your bank accounts, because like the government's going to take a big chunk of the money. So we facilitate also the cross-border payments or the expense reimbursement from any country in the world. For example, the US, paying a salary in Argentina, and people so you spend dollars and people get DAI in their wallet if they want. Okay? At the end of the day. And the last thing we do is, once you have done all these payments back and forth during the whole day, request does the pre-accounting. So we have now an accounting tool in request that enables anyone in the world to connect the chart of account of their local accounting system, traditional system. It doesn't need to be a fancy one. It can be like a traditional local accounting system. You connect this with our pre-accounting tool, and it lets the magic operates. All your crypto operations will be bookkept in your traditional accounting system.
I think that this accounting connection feature is probably the holy grail of any kind of financial decentralized app.
That's the one that prevents you from going to jail if you operate in crypto, because you can do business in the world with any currency if, you want, as long as you maintain an accounting and you pay tax.
It's not just that. I mean, I know a lot of degens with big portfolios, and they want to pay their taxes, right? They want to do it. They want to be legit, but it's very hard for them to actually find an application or find a company that can handle, I don't know, like 20,000 transactions in the last year. You know what I mean, on their wallets on multiple blockchains. So there are solutions like Coinly and other websites where you connect your wallet, and it says there after 10 minutes of parsing the transaction, it says you have to pay this much, but they
Yeah.
never work accurately. And I still think this kind of accounting app where you can connect your wallet and it can tell
And
you at the end how much you have to pay and to whom, that is the holy grail of DeFi.
talking about Coinly, uh, talking about Coinly equivalents, and so we have like plenty of uh, portfolio trackers that exist in the market. The only thing is
Right.
the data is never accurate for personal tax declaration. And the one we found the most accurate for personal tax declaration is one of our partners, which is called Octave.finance, which is like the most accurate portfolio tracker for personal tax reason.
Yeah, I've seen that partnership just maybe a couple of 2 months ago,
Mhm.
something like that. It was very recent, and I was happy to see that. I do think Octave is one of the best portfolio trackers on the market. And congratulations for the partnership. I think all in all, keeping this momentum going on, Request Finance can become the all-in-one app any
Yeah,
freelancer or company might need to be compliant in DeFi,
exactly.
not just to act compliant.
And the one we work with that like we're currently integrating into Request is Consola.finance, and this one is more accounting oriented for companies, not for individuals. And this one is like really the one that connects with your like traditional accounting system. It's a really promising one. We're super like enthusiastic to onboard them together with us.
I think I met their founder at one of the events last year, and I
Mhm.
was impressed with their software. Tried to pitch Request Network to them, but one way or another, they are in the ecosystem right now. Happy to hear that. And we also have in the grants pipeline, we have an accounting application that we're working with at the moment to integrate. So there's more news to come on that front. Meanwhile, since we've been growing to what Request Finance can do for individuals and companies, what feature do you think was the hardest to deal with, the hardest to implement? Was it maybe accounting,
I-
or was it,
In
you
which
know,
sense? Can you can you
time maybe, or human resource, or even legal matters? What feature? Maybe one of the builders, one of somebody who wants to an entrepreneur who wants to build something similar is curious
Mhm.
which feature was the hardest to implement or the hardest to work with.
Definitely the the on-chain invoicing one. It's funny because today you have plenty of, for example, on-ramp, off-ramp. You have plenty of um, portfolio tracker and accounting systems.
Right.
The thing that we did not find is no one built an on-chain invoicing technology, which means that, of course, you could use something else to process your payments. You don't need to use Request. The thing is, Request has the UI, but behind there is like a technology, and no one ever built an on-chain technology, an on-chain invoicing technology. People are just building UIs. You mean with like no engine behind?
So what you're saying right now is that Request Finance benefits from an extremely amazing infrastructure, right?
Yes, I mean, like, at least decentralized the most we can,
Yeah.
because, like, of course, you could use any other request is non-custodian, for example. I will not drop names here, but you could use any other tool to pay a salary, for example. But these technologies are like custodian, so you have to send them funds and trust them to redistribute the funds for you. For me, this is super interesting. This is easy to build because you don't need technology. Okay, you just need like a license to have like digital assets. The thing is, the day you get hacked, the game is over. You know, because like it happens only once, right? And the company does not survive this. So, and this is really dangerous. People are now like taking shortcuts. You know, it's like originally like OGs were building like decentralized infrastructure that no one really understand, or just few people do. And people do not understand how this impacts the product. So of course your product is maybe less good looking or less reactive, but at least it's reliable and robust compared to centralized technologies. And I think we're gonna have big dramas and accidents in the future regarding like those centralized solutions. So this is why I'm really convinced that what makes request unique is its technology behind that people cannot really perceive, but it's the warranty of the robustness of the product.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And speaking of decentralization, um, we know it's decentralized, but it's not as decentralized as it could be, our infrastructure. So we
Exactly.
are hiring developers. We're hiring 2 new developers at the moment. The job ad is out. And this year, I mean, David and Neil have already worked on some decentralization updates. And this year, there will be more and more coming on that front. This is a public service announcement.
Yeah.
So,
And I
yeah,
think it's a good way to operate this way. It's like you have to make decentralization trade-off at the beginning for adoption purpose. Because if you're like decentralization maxi, you end up building a rocket that no one uses it. Okay. If you take a shortcut in the short term for adoption purpose, then you have the research and development to re-decentralize little by little as much as you can the product, which is a good philosophy.
awesome. If you need a glass of water, Toph, go ahead. Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. So my last question is if there's anything else that you want to add or your call to action, maybe an advice for anybody who wants to build an invoicing solution. You know, there's no such thing as competition in the Web3 space. It's only collaboration, as you well know.
No, it's good. It's good to have competition in the sense that when
Can
you
you
have,
speak a little louder, please?
yeah, sorry.
Awesome.
It's good to have competition because when you have competition, it means that there is a market. The advice would be build it decentralized as much as you can, for real. So I think request network is a beautiful infrastructure because what people don't figure out is the day you have all your invoices on a network like request network,
Yeah.
those invoices in the real world, in the traditional world, invoices that are like accepted by clients, for example, if I send you an invoice and you accept it, this invoice becomes a financial asset. So request network is not a network of invoices at the end of the day. It's a network of collaterals. It's a network of financial asset that can be used as collateral for like trade finance purpose, factoring, invoice financing, borrowing, lending, anything that requires a collateral. So everyone today is like is excited by real world assets. And what do? They on-ramp assets from the traditional world to the blockchain. But with request network as a backend, whenever you create an asset, it's already on chain.
Yeah.
So basically, request network is a network of financial asset, real world asset that are like fully that can be like the collateral for any financial app for the future. And I think it's beautiful.
So just to be clear, decentralization, you mentioned decentralization as something a founder, an entrepreneur should pursue from the start, but they should pursue it as best as they can, right? You cannot be fully decentralized from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. It's like decentralization is more like a code of conduct, a philosophy. So the more you make short trade-off at the beginning, and then the more your company evolve, the more you decentralize it. I give you an example.
Yeah.
MakerDAO,
Okay.
our very first customer. MakerDAO at the beginning was not a DAO. MakerDAO was a foundation that back in, I don't remember, 2019 or 2020, I think, or 2021, I don't remember the date, was dissolved to become a DAO. But the origination of the project was necessary. They did a trade-off, which was, okay, we're gonna have a centralized organization called a foundation. And one day, our mission will be to dissolve it to become a DAO. And I think that's a really good philosophy, a good code of conduct. When you build something, is you make a trade-off at the beginning for adoption purpose and go to market. As soon as it goes really well,
Yeah.
then you can figure out how to decentralize as max as you can until becoming a DAO ultimately.
So becoming a DAO for you, for example, is an end goal.
Could be,
Could be.
yeah, depending on your project, but for it applies to plenty of projects. Yes.
I assume that you don't see request finance becoming a DAO simply because it's harder to explain to companies what a DAO is, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, no, it's not in the mission of Request Finance because Request Finance is more like an operational company that aims to serve like traditional finance world ultimately. And I'm not sure it would make sense. But I mean, why not? But in the short term, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, it makes sense that it's not something that you can pursue easily. And also, like I said, I don't think it's easy to explain what a DAO is to a lot of Web2 people, a lot of traditional finance people. Anyway, thank you for the precious tips.
Yeah, pleasure.
I hope that any builders, founders, entrepreneurs who will listen to this will heed your advice. And in the meantime, thanks everybody for joining. This is the end of the space. Thank you, Toph, for giving us some of your time and giving some tips into what makes an invoicing and payroll app great, such as Request Finance. And I hope that we will see some benefits out of this in the form of applicants to our grant program, to the Request Network grant program, who want to build maybe why not? Maybe the next Request Finance, maybe the next successful product in this space.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much again. Thanks
Thank you very
everybody
much.
for
Have a
coming
good
in.
one. Bye bye.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.